Hey everybody, we're here at SHOT Show 2025 with Lowlight Innovations. This is a booth interview that I've been wanting to do for a little while now. They have a lot of really exciting developments, and let's get into it. So I'm joined here with Claude and Giuseppe. These guys run the show here at LLI, and they've got a lot of stuff to show, so let's get right into it.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate the introduction. So first thing, we're just going to talk about is the MH1. Everybody knows and loves this system. This is the world's only fully modular night vision device. And what I mean by that is every single aspect of this device can be disassembled, all the way from the battery compartment to the mount to the arms. Anything and everything can be changed on this system. It has onboard manual gain via 4-pin direct plug-in. There is no modifying your tubes, no voiding your warranties. You have rotational shutoff. You have dual IR illumination. One would be a low power, one is a high power. And a few other creature comforts like adjustable hinge tensioning and such.
So I'm going to pass it on to Giuseppe. I do see there are some small changes to the housing since the initial inception of it. And you guys did make a pretty cool video on it. Specifically, you were in it, I believe. So if you don't mind speaking to us about the innovations that have occurred with this housing since its release and now, and what's going into the MH1 for 2025.
Yeah. So, we did the rear bridge change. Everyone wanted to see a more reinforced rear bridge, so we did that. We also, for the next batch, we do have skeletonized arms. That's just for a more sleek look. And we also have panning arms that we've brought to SHOT Show.
All right, guys. So there is a really interesting version of the MH1 that a lot of you guys have been anticipating, as have I, because I do love panning goggles. I think they give you a huge amount of field of view for weight and price ratio. And let's get into this. This thing looks pretty wild. Articulating and panning is something that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. So, yeah, panning MH1. What's going on here?
Well, this is a prototype. I just want to point that out there because I don't think you want your night vision to do that.
It's the first night vision device that can do the side eye, which is kind of cool.
Just, taking some corner shots. But so really excited for this product. A lot of people have asked for it, and we're able to bring it to the show today. And yeah,
I'll expand on it a little bit. So basically the methodology behind what we want to do with our panning system is we want to have 3 preset detents. So you have firm positive clicks that lock into place by pressure. Essentially, your first is going to be your 40 degrees. 40 degrees is what everybody should
straight on, normal binos.
Yep. It's going to be how you're collimating the system and what you want to return to when you don't need a wide angle system. Your next one would be a preset at 55 degrees. And then after that, you would have like 63 to 65 degrees. We're not sure on that third angle just yet.
So if I'm getting this right, it's not like an infinitely adjustable pan. It's like preset degrees.
Yeah, correct.
And there's going to be detents for that.
Yes, correct.
We also do some ASMR, just like...
those detents do sound nice. I know they're not supposed to go cross-eyed right now, but this is obviously an early production prototype.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. I mean, I think it's a really slick system. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in regards to the panning system?
Should be available, I would say, end of Q1. We're making some pretty good progress on it. As much as it seems like a very unpolished prototype, unfortunately that goes down to a machining error and making the detents a little bit too shallow, which led to over travel.
That's all right, guys. We're at SHOT Show. It's where all the weird prototypes and all the pre-release stuff gets shown off. It's totally normal.
100%. The concepts that will be available from some companies in maybe 10 years.
In terms of this panning MH1, do you guys have a name for it? And are these parts going to be available to buy for standard MH1 users so they could just replace, I believe, the hinges on the MH1 to turn it into a panning MH1?
So we don't have a name for it just yet. In terms of your question about, aftermarket availability for previous MH1 users, absolutely. That's the entire goal with this housing, to create a future-proof platform that you can count on. You can say, hey, in a year, I want to change my system. I want to go a different route. We want to be able to accommodate you. We don't want you to have to sell your housing.
So if I already have an MH1, I can buy these arms separately and install them, and it should be good to go.
Absolutely. They're very easy to install as well.
And are you guys going to be selling this as a pre-configured system that has the panning out of the box?
So we prefer to sell the system as, a base system. I can't say we'll never do it. It kind of really depends, what users are wanting, because at the end of the day, I know I can speak for both Giuseppe and myself. We listen to the market, we listen to users, and we listen to what you guys want. That's why we're here. That's why we're in business. because we listen to the feedback from customers. So let us know what you guys want.
Yeah, definitely, you guys do. I do believe you went over this in your bridge video, but I know there was some interesting online discourse about this, but how much stronger is this bridge compared to your old one in terms of the rear part? Because I tried bending this with my hands, and it was very, very strong, very, very sturdy. I just want to hear from you guys what the strength increases are like and what material you guys are using.
All I know is we dropped it from 25 feet, landed just fine, still worked. Actually, the diopters were the ones that broke well before the housing had even a scratch.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of parts will break on the nod way, way before the housing will, and that's for any system.
Yeah, and I can give you some specifics on what the bridge should be in terms of added strength. So FEA analysis shows about an 800% strength increase, roughly. We're pretty happy with the performance of this bridge. Again, there is still some flex, I guess you could say. If you take it in your hands and you try and wiggle it, there's wiggle. It doesn't bend, though. That wiggle's there to accommodate any sort of impact, because at the end of the day, we firmly believe that a housing should not be just a block of steel, super stiff, and should not move. At the end of the day, that kinetic energy from an impact needs to go somewhere, and you do not want that to go to your tubes.
So no tungsten carbide MH1s anytime soon?
Maybe a tool steel MH1.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. And how are you guys going to be offering the rear part of the bridge?
So that's actually going to be a free upgrade for any existing user. So any user that wants that rear bridge upgrade can reach out to us. We'll put you guys on a list. And when they become available, we'll just ship it out to you guys. You guys can install it. It's very, very simple and straightforward.
Awesome. The video on the installation, I believe, was really good, from what I remember. If I remember correctly, which I'm not very good at because it's SHOT Show and I'm very tired. However, what's the ETA on these guys?
So in terms of the rear bridge, probably another 2 weeks, I would say. SHOT Show delayed us a little bit, obviously.
It always does. It always does. All right. So I think that about covers MH1 things. We'll get into this guy maybe last.
Sure.
But what about this little guy? Because this is a monocular housing, and it feels really solid in hand. So let's go over the mono. Giuseppe, you're holding it in hand. I'll let you go with it.
All right, so it's actually using the same pod for the MH1. Because of the modular system, you could get just the compartment itself or the whole device, and it's going to be compatible with your MH1. So it's a full aluminum MH1 for the front, and it has all the same features except, the auto pot shut off.
Oh, I guess you don't really need to do that for a mono. Yeah, fair enough.
But it has dual IR, so it has all the same features, and it's a AA.
AA housing. All right, awesome. I think a lot of people have been asking about this little interesting curve over here. When you guys told me the reason for it, first of all, this is also really strong. I know you guys on the internet are going to have some interesting concerns. This thing is crazy strong. You don't have to worry about this thing doing anything weird at all. But there is an interesting reason why it's designed like this. Claude, do you want to go over that?
Sure, yeah. So in terms of the design language, design methodology, this is the same exact mounting point, the same exact mounting position as a standard PVS 14. It might not look the same because of this undercut. However, this undercut allows us to reduce a lot of weight and also add a really interesting tethering point.
Yeah, it's much easier to use this as a big tethering point by using a piece of paracord or cordage or cable or something like that than it is to use those tiny little eyelets.
Absolutely. So that's one of the reasons we made that like this. And again, also just weight. This is solid 70-75 on the top.
Damn.
So you do not have to worry about this ever breaking.
So I talked to Bradley, which is one of the guys behind the designs of housings, and what I really liked that he mentioned was the way that this was designed. It has cutouts that are pretty much the same as a stock PVS 14, including the little auto pod shut off that people always tape over anyways. And that's so this thing can be compatible with pretty much every aftermarket J-arm on the market without any weird adapters or 3D printed bits, which is great. This guy also does have manual gain, just like the MH1. Will this guy be coming, because we're an international dealer, will it be coming in a 3-pad version, a 3-pin version?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's important to us that we offer all of our products, no matter what it is, in both 3-pad and 4-pin plug-in. Obviously, as long as it has manual gain. Now, this device, like Giuseppe was saying earlier, this is half of an MH1, essentially. This is the exact MH1 pod. So our methodology behind creating the system is creating a lower barrier to entry for a new night vision user so that down the road, they can actually upgrade to a dedicated bino that looks like a dedicated bino.
That is a dedicated bino.
A dedicated bino. There's absolutely zero waste. You don't have to, again, sell the whole thing off. And also, after you do upgrade to a dedicated bino, if you so choose to, you have now a monocular adapter if you ever want to split them off again.
Yeah, because we all have girlfriends to split it off with.
Absolutely, of
Awesome.
course.
Of
Every
course.
night vision user.
Of course, every night vision user has someone to split their night vision with. That's why it's such an in-demand feature. And as we were saying earlier, this thing also has a similar illuminator to the MH1. Does it also have a dual power or adjustable illuminator?
Correct, yeah. So it is a dual power illuminator. You have your standard 940 nanometer. That is an extremely low power illuminator. That's going to be for map reading. It's going to be for medical response in the field.
Small, close quarters tests.
Exactly. And then you have your 850 nanometer illuminator. That's going to be an extremely high power illuminator that can reach out to about 50 yards, even though it is a flood.
Yeah, so on illuminators, from my personal experience, I was actually using one of your guys' MH1 that we built as a demo unit. And normally I wasn't really sold on illuminators for housings because they tend to be pretty anemic.
Sure.
But we did some urban exploring in some areas, and obviously in those dark areas you can't see anything because you're in like an enclosed space, no light, no windows, anything like that. So when I had the actual really powerful illuminator on, that thing was awesome. I can allow all my buddies to see with that illuminator on. They didn't even need to turn theirs on. So I think the dual illuminator function is definitely slept on for the MH1. And honestly, it's so minimal, so well built into the goggle that you basically can't even see it. And it's actually functional, unlike a lot of illuminators which seem to be tacked on just to check a box. So one thing that you guys might have noticed if you guys are looking at the front of these guys is they're blacked out on the front. And I did not really know what this was for until I went to the booth and talked to them. So can one of you guys elaborate on this?
Sure. Yeah. So these are our new day training filters, essentially. This is nothing super new in the industry. So essentially these are going to be for if you want to use your nods and practice maneuvering with your night vision in the daytime. Sounds crazy, I know, using nods in the daytime, but some people just don't have time at night.
It doubles your training time if you're in an agency, right? So you can train in the day, you can have the lights on, have the people look at your movements and look at the catwalk and stuff like that, and you don't fry your tubes.
100%, yeah. So our goal is to push these out after SHOT Show. Yeah. Not sure how they're going to be received by the public, but, we'll see. We see utility in them, so hopefully other people will too.
I mean, I think they're really cool, especially as a training tool. I think it's going to be really, really compelling. So how exactly do they work? Is it just like sunglasses for your nods? Because normally people have to use a day cap, and the problem with the day cap is if it's really pinhole, you reduce your field of view. This should get full field of view, which is really nice. But what exactly is making this so your tubes don't get damaged?
Sure, yep. So it only has IR pass-through, essentially. So this is IR transparent. It blocks out pretty much every other wavelength. It is extremely, extremely dark. The gain circuit, or the auto gating circuit, I should say, the way we tested these, the auto gating circuit does not even kick in on your tubes when you look at a bright light with these on. So your tube is not being exposed to substantial light in the slightest bit, and you're still able to see everything and get your normal field of view.
All right, well, I do think that it's a bit niche in terms of application, but I think this definitely appeals to a lot of professional users. So while I was holding this thing, I noticed it looks a little bit different than an MH1 because it is not an MH1. There's a different battery pod on this, and it seems to be made of a different material. So I'll actually let Giuseppe take this one away and let him explain what's going on here.
So this is actually our UH1. It's our plastic version of the MH1. It's not going to have any modularity.
Okay.
It is equipped with a battery and a LEMO port. But it still has the same functionality, IR illumination, manual gain, and it still has the same layout for the 3-pin or 4-pin EGAC.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing as an MH1, but lighter, made of polymer. And this battery cap over here, this is not specific to this guy actually, right? This can be used on the MH1 as well?
So yes and no. So that's a AA battery compartment, but we do have a new battery compartment for the MH1. It's the UBC, or the Universal Battery Compartment. It follows basically the same format, except what the UBC allows you to do is it allows you to use CR123 or AAA. The way you can use AA or AAA is with just a different cap. It's something we're going to be pushing out shortly after SHOT Show. It's only going to cost about like $10. It's not going to be very expensive at all.
That's great, because the not inflation prices are like a battery cap costs like $1,800 or $1,800, some of that, right?
Yeah, no. We view it as a accessory we want everybody to have. So we're passing on our cost to consumers. At the end of the day, we want people to always be able to use their systems. Even if they run out of CR123s, which are a very specialized battery, they should still be able to use their system. It does have external power on the back via a 4-pin Fisher port. And this compartment does have a smart management system, meaning that it's going to know to draw from your battery bank first and then seamlessly switch to onboard power as soon as that's depleted.
So you can run both the battery inside here and offboard power.
Correct. It would be very counterintuitive to not allow a system to do that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any more points about the UH1 that you guys want to go over, Claude?
Sure, yeah. So it's going to be a fiber reinforced polymer system. So it'll be very, very strong. This is a system we're introducing as a lower cost entry to binos. We want to keep the amount of SKUs we have down. So we want one thing for each application, our mono, our entry-level bino, and then your premium offering for a bino. So this housing will be retailing for around $1,400.
Oh, wow. Very, very competitive in terms of pricing. So for all one person on the Reddit or Discord that wanted this ball detent housing, you guys have it out. So let's go over the details of this guy.
I'll try to talk about it. So the goal for this ball detent system, this is a rough prototype, obviously. This is going to be a powered detent system. So it's going to integrate into your standard ambus mount, and it's going to give you a power option through the ball detent itself, so you don't have to use your external power or even onboard power. That's pretty much a ball detent.
So another thing I noticed on this housing is the lenses. It's actually using Anvis glass, which is pretty cool. So there is going to be an Anvis version of the MH1 coming out, which is, I'm assuming, this one over here.
Absolutely.
And I know a few people have been asking about this, but what's going to be the release date for this guy?
So the Anvis pods are already out. They're actually ready for purchase. We have them
awesome.
Yep, we have them in stock right now. The ball detent, that release is probably going to be somewhere around early Q2, I would say. Very early Q2. We have to work on a few different things in regards to just tolerancing it, because I want to make sure that the adjustment is perfect for the user. And obviously there's absolutely zero hiccups on release.
All right, well, awesome. This was a little bit of a surprise. I didn't expect you guys to start this quickly, especially, I remember last year you guys had the big diagram with all the parts of the MH1 that were planned, and I think right now in 2025, the modularity of the MH1 being just a housing that can do it all is really coming to light, and I'm really looking forward to the developments you guys have for this year, guys. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you.
And
appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, man.
It's actually your show.
I guess it is. Fuck, man.